damn wall of lies and deception around COVID 1984, as I'll call it, is about to burst with the weight of truth and disclosure that's coming through. So we're at the cusp of something big here, Lee. This whole thing, this whole assault on humanity, on conscience, on individual freedom, around a trademarked virus is about to be fully exposed because of the suppression of public debate in this nation by highly qualified medical professionals around the world who were suppressed and censored and dismissed as quacks. This whole vaccine thing was pushed onto people, and now we're seeing the carnage and the devastation. What went on behind closed door? What commercial arrangements were there? Why can't we see that what happened in the National Cabinet, this secretive, unconstitutional National Cabinet that our former LNP Prime Minister Scott Morrison set up with his gang of state premiers? Why didn't you take the vaccine deal and look at all of the evidence and the research? I didn't want the damn thing, Lee, and that's all I need to say. And I remember, see, Lee, I've got a good memory. I don't let it go into George Orwell's 1984 memory hole, mate. I don't allow that. I remember very clearly when Chief Health Officer Paul Kelly said, no, get this, quote, masks are ineffective against this, and B, they will more readily spread the disease because people will misuse them. I'm not going to live in a world of delusion. Do you have an exemption? I'm exempt from delusion. I'm exempt from playing games, yeah. Remember, Lee, you can never be fully vaccinated against this thing. It's the perfect business model, or if you like, the perfect crime, really, is that you cannot be fully vaccinated against this thing unless you're part of the schedule, unless you've had the latest booster. Guess what? You are unvaccinated in their opinion, or you are under-vaccinated and therefore at risk of this virus, which is continually mutating itself down in terms of its virility, but increasing in terms of its ability to spread. Regime media has to return to the people and become the investigative, balanced reporting, the free press pillar of democracy that they are designed to be, a free press, and expose this. I mean, there were years ago, decades ago, the swine flu vaccine went out, the media did their job, the thing was pulled very, very quickly, with far less damage, injury and death than what we're seeing around this COVID-19 mRNA treatments.
Dylan Oakley, Freedom as a Voice, thank you.
I'm telling you, some of these massive studies, Lee, get this, they are not investigating any contribution that the trial vaccine may play with the condition called long COVID. Brain fog, fatigue, constant, illnesses and lowering of immune function, all that. There's no connection being even raised or questioned through the studies. That is a crime in itself. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars put into these studies, and the question is not raised. You want to go and have a look at long COVID when it appears in the news, every news article you ever see around long COVID, you show me one article where they raise the question, where the investigative reporter, the news reporter, by the way, investigative journalism is dead. You got to try and find me somewhere where somebody is saying, now what about the trial vaccine? What about what former Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt called the biggest clinical vaccine trial in history across the world? Where does that come into the equation as having any kind of connection with or long COVID and these other diseases that are happening? Now, we know that there is vaccine injury. If people are prepared to have a look, it's there to be seen, but they don't, and the media at the moment is covering it up. That's about to change. The damn wall of lies and deception around COVID 1984, as I'll call it, is about to burst with the weight of truth and disclosure that's coming through. So we're at the cusp of something big here, Lee. This whole thing, this whole assault on humanity, on conscience, on individual freedom, around a trademarked virus is about to be fully exposed. I don't know how early you saw it, but I saw very early on the writing on the wall that this was going to move into a mandatory vaccination. Now, once we saw that, people started to see that, we started to bunker down and get ready for what was going to be an assault on us. You kept going. It was almost like a cognitive dissonance, Lee. You keep thinking to yourself, surely they won't go this way. And an amount of people in that school where we both worked who said, I'm not getting it. I'm not going to be one of the first ones to line up and get it. Guess what? Everybody mostly folded like a house of cards because the pressure came on from every single angle. For you, it might be the ability to travel and see, your dad overseas.
Family, yeah.
I fully understand the pressure that would have. I didn't have that pressure on me. For somebody else, it was mortgage pressure. For somebody else, it was just the constant barrage of fear.
Work pressure. You were told that you couldn't teach. Friends of ours, including yourself, were stopped from teaching.
Take your job off you, take your livelihood away. This was disgusting, and I will never, ever accept that. The alternative was to let it run and kill all these people. Well, that is going to be fiercely debated in history, and I believe we're going to see that people were corralled and oppressed over a virus, really, that we look at the statistics, had a 99.7% infection recovery rate. It was mostly dangerous to the elderly. If the government want to work with big pharmaceutical companies around a trial vaccine and people want to avail themselves to that, well and good. But to impress that on the population, dip the whole herd, was unconscionable, was wicked, it was evil. We've got to look at this. The early treatment protocols, the early intervention treatments that were available were suppressed. And that as well is going to come out very clearly.
Where's that?
Well, you've got to look at things like ivermectin, you've got to look at things like hydroxychloroquine. Two words that if I had said this during 2020, 2021 on social media, even 2022, probably you'll get a strike on your social media page, a ban, and possibly lose your presence altogether just by mentioning there wasn't a concerted effort. You can look at Fauci, you can look at everybody involved there behind the push of the vaccine. There could be no place for early intervention treatments. I mean, in Australia, we have who I will call on the record an Aussie hero in Clive Palmer, who out of his own money, to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, secured the largest batch of hydroxychloroquine in the world, even bigger than what America was able to secure for its population. We're talking about, let me get the figure right here, 37 million doses, enough for the whole country, Lee, as an early intervention treatment for this disease of hydroxychloroquine. He himself nearly died from the Delta variation of COVID. Had he gone with the protocol they suggested, which was a ventilator and remdesivir, a lot of people didn't make it out of that particular protocol. But he, with the ivermectin protocol, perhaps including hydroxychloroquine, was able to get well very, very quickly. So this is multifaceted. This is multifaceted. It's not just about, okay, was there a virus that needed to be addressed? Sure. But there were early intervention treatments available. There was a lot of research. We have a media that really went on one side of this, and studies that were doctoredly to continually dismiss and discredit ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And people succumbed to labels. People succumbed to if you mention ivermectin, it's horsewormy, you big conspiracy theorist, you tinfoil hat wearer. There are people now who really don't care anymore, Lee. They don't care. Call us what you want. Because of the suppression of public debate in this nation by highly qualified medical professionals around the world who were suppressed and censored and dismissed as quacks, this whole vaccine thing was pushed onto people, and now we're seeing the carnage and the devastation. And I believe you're seeing it in things like long COVID, in reduced immune systems of people who are suffering all manner of related diseases. This has got the best cover you could ever hope for, because other diseases are coming on and covering up the tracks of an mRNA trial vaccine that is in people's bodies and wreaking havoc right now.